Your choice, you're welcome to, but you do not have to. Board members, at this time, Ms. King has asked for a moment of privilege, and I'm going to grant it now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe some people do not understand the meaning of receiving a challenge coin, which is also known as a coin of excellence or a success coin. Everyone in the military and law enforcement understand what an honor it is to receive an excellence, challenge, success coin, because they have succeeded in going above and beyond in their mission and overcome the challenge and attaining excellence. I have a coin of excellence that I received from a 3-star general, and it means a lot. My challenge, excellence, success coin from Dr. Ziegler also means a lot, and I am proud to show it. Dr. Ziegler called this a challenge coin because all of our staff has met and overcome the challenges this past year has put on us. A few of our staff said they did not receive a coin, and they should speak with their principal or supervisor. If their supervisor has run out of coins, I know there are a few coins at the administration building, because we all know that sometimes people get unintentionally left out, especially when dealing with over 12,000 LCPS staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Board members will move to item 3, approval of the consent agenda. Ms. Reeser.
I move that the Loudoun County School Board adopt the Tuesday, June 22, 2021 consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Morse. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion will carry unanimously, 9-0. Thank you, board members. We'll now move to item 4, our student and staff recognitions. Item 401 is the Loudoun County Public Library and Loudoun Literacy Council Partnership. Dr. Ziegler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we are honoring 5 high school students who have taken part in a powerful partnership this year that has resulted in Loudoun County residents receiving a beautiful magazine in their mailboxes, or will result in Loudoun County residents receiving a beautiful magazine in their mailboxes later this summer. Loudoun Community Press is publishing Loudoun County Magazine as a product for their writing, storytelling, and art for the community project. The project brought together representatives of 3 organizations with one shared mission: the Loudoun County Public Library, the Loudoun County Literacy Council, and the Loudoun County Public Schools. The goal of the partnership was to capture student voice and share it with the larger community. LCPS was represented by student editors that we wish to recognize tonight: Brandon Esquera from Freedom High School, Emily Diaz from Potomac Falls High School, and Lane Shepley from Independence High School. And I believe some of them are here. We also have with us Ibala Martinez and Ella Huck. And if you're here, would you all come forward to be recognized, please? Ibala is a homeschooler who served as an editor of this community publication. Ella Huck of Independence High School served as photographer. Brandon and Amaya graduated this week. Branda will attend Nova, and Amaya will attend Howard University. The other students are underclassmen who will return to the program to participate again next year. Former school board member Beth Huck and Jessica Monte served as advisors to the Loudoun Community Press. We'd like to thank these students for their work and look forward to reading their contributions to this publication later this summer. We also invite LCPS students of all abilities from all schools to consider participating in this program during the school year next year. Thank you, students.
More LCPS students and community members doing great things. We're so proud of our young adults in Loudoun County. Thank you so much. All right, we'll move to item 402, going above and beyond the call of duty. Dr. Ziegler.
Madam Chair, if we could ask Safety and Security Technician Chris Forback and those who are with him this evening to come forward, please. While on duty for LCPS on May 19, Safety and Security Technician Chris Forback discovered an overturned tractor trailer that was leaking gas. Chris immediately contacted the Security Operations Center, blocked traffic, and began to render first aid. Both the driver and another occupant were trapped inside the truck. Fearing a potential fire, Chris utilized a sawzall to cut the windshield out, pulled the occupants to safety, and render first aid until Loudoun County Fire and Rescue arrived on the scene. I might note that Chris just happened to have a sawzall in his truck at the time of the accident because he spends his free time as a volunteer firefighter with the South Berkeley Volunteer Fire Company in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. Mr. Forback, we commend you for your bravery and quick decision-making that saved the lives of the driver, the passenger, and in this tractor-trailer accident. Please accept this modest certificate as a gesture of our appreciation, and thank you for your service to LCPS and to our community.
Board members, we're going to move to item 5, public comment. And I wanted to let the board members and the public know we have 259 speakers signed up for tonight, and each speaker will be given 1 minute. I just want to let everyone, remind everyone that maybe hasn't looked at our agenda yet. We do have a time certain stop for a closed meeting, and we will resume public comment if we're not completed with that after our closed session, and that's 7 p.m. So we'll have a time certain stop there, but we will resume public comment when we return from our closed session. I do want to review policy 2520, participation by the public, just to remind everybody of our rules. Community members are invited and encouraged to attend Loudoun County School Board meetings to observe public deliberations. The school board welcomes comments from the public and believes strong community engagement is important to a successful school system. The public can participate in school board or committee meetings only during public comment period. The policy provides for a process for public comments. The civility, decorum, and respect for the functioning dignity of the school board shall be maintained at all times. When reasonable, the chair will warn a speaker of breaches of decorum or of these rules prior to terminating speaking privileges or taking other action to preserve civility, decorum, and orderly conduct of the meeting. In order to protect student privacy under federal and state law, speakers may not address topics involving complaints about personally identifiable students. Speakers may communicate those concerns privately to the school board. Speakers shall refrain from vulgarity, obscenities, profanity, or other like breaches of respect for the dignity of the school board or other people. These procedures are intended for those speaking
You're live.
Good afternoon. During public comment. Members of the school board shall not answer questions or respond directly to the public during the public comment period. Copies of materials for board members should be given to the public information officer or designee in the media box at the back of the boardroom prior to the start of the meeting for distribution to board members. Please provide 12 copies of materials. Under no circumstances will a speaker approach the dais. Speakers must limit comments to the time allotted by the chair and announced prior to the public comment period. The chair determines the time based on the number of speakers and the agenda, but not to exceed 5 minutes. Those who need translation, interpretation assistance, or a reasonable accommodation for any type of disability in order to be able to participate meaningfully in school board meetings or public hearings should contact the superintendent's office at least 3 days prior to the meeting. The speaking time will be doubled for speakers requiring translation, interpretation assistance when requested. Other communications to school board members. The school board is also open to receiving comments outside of the school board meetings as an alternative means of public participation. To email all members of the school board, please use lcsb@lcps.org. I'll just remind you that when the room is very loud, it is difficult for speakers to hear their names being called. So I'm again requesting the members of the public present tonight to show support for a speaker by raising their hands, standing, or holding up your signs. And I thank you for your cooperation. Board members, our first speaker this evening is Christina Kroll, to be followed by Jill McCabe.
Hi, I'd like to kick things off tonight by expressing gratitude for our school board members who have consistently put the safety of our students first, even when it has been unpopular to do so. Thank you, too, to Dr. Ziegler, Jones, and Bowers for drafting Policy 8040. Thank you to the 26 Virginia lawmakers who wrote the legislation that makes this policy a mandatory, non-negotiable state requirement. Using correct names and pronouns for transgender and non-binary kids is suicide prevention. You're going to hear a lot of voices tonight. A few are likely to be very loud. Remember that the quiet majority of people out there in the community support you and stand by you in wanting to protect children from harm. This policy hurts no one and helps some of our most at-risk kids to simply feel welcome in their schools. From all of us in the youth suicide prevention community and all of us who love and respect all children, a sincere thank you.
Jill McCabe, to be followed by Amber Beekler.
My name is Jill McCabe, and I am a parent and a practicing pediatrician here in Loudoun County. Board members, thank you for introducing Policy 8040 and adopting the Virginia Department of Education's protections for transgender and non-binary students. I am a doctor and a proud member of a team that regularly addresses all of our patients and acknowledges their gender identity and strives to work without discrimination. Please allow me to address some common misconceptions regarding children's experiences with transgender issues. Transgender identities and diverse gender expression do not constitute a mental disorder. Variations in gender identity and expression are normal aspects of human diversity. Gender identity evolves as an interplay of biology, development, socialization, and culture. And if a mental health issue exists, it most often stems from stigma, negative experiences, rather than being intrinsic to the child. Pediatricians strive to decrease adverse childhood experiences for all children, including transgender youth. As educators, you share this goal.
Thank you. I neglected to let everybody know we are using the two podiums, so you can alternate them or you can stand behind a speaker. It is up to you, whichever is easier for you to get to. Okay, thank you. So Amber Beekler, followed by Willa Wonky.
Thank you, and I want to say happy Pride to everybody. My name is Amber Beekler, and I'm a board member of the Transgender Education Association of Greater Washington, or TGEA. I'm also an LCPS alumna and a former substitute teacher, and I'm a proud transgender woman. I'm encouraging you all on the Loudoun School Board to adopt Policy 8040 in order to protect transgender students in LCPS. I'm a co-facilitator for a trans teens and tweens group, and some of our attendees are LCPS students. The past year and a half has been very difficult for them, and they deserve to return in the fall to a school district that supports and protects their rights to be themselves. The data is clear. Inclusive policies like 8040 improve the physical and mental health of transgender students, and there isn't evidence that this harms their cisgender peers. please do what you can for transgender students. They need the support for their school board and administration now more than ever. And just for any transgender students who may be listening, it may be rough if you are listening, but please know that there are plenty of people who love and support you. Thank you.
Willawonky, to be followed by Michelle Leffler.
My name is Willawonky, she, her, hers. While I live in Herndon, I run a community building group for parents of trans teens in Loudoun. I'm on the boards of the Transgender Education Association and LCPS Pride. I've heard a lot about what trans kids go through in Loudoun schools. As a trans woman myself, I know what I went through growing up and throughout my life. We are all afraid. Some here fear the things they do not understand. They have not talked to a trans person, let alone a trans kid, and sought understanding. Black, Indigenous, and kids of color hear critical race theory and understand enough to fear those that are afraid to learn about racism. LGBTQ kids hear my religion teaches and understand enough to fear those people who will use their God to justify mistreatment. I am here to ask for compassion, compassion for all. Most importantly, compassion for those who experience things you may never completely understand. Thank you. Happy Pride.
Michelle Leffler, to be followed by Julia Holcomb.
No pressure. Hello. I guess my 1 minute starts now. My name is Michelle Leffler. I'm a Virginia female women veteran and on the equity committee. Thank you for that. I got asked today if it was worth it, if the division is worth it, if being on the equity committee is worth it. And it reminded me of the challenge coins that I have here. Joint task forces for being in a presidential inauguration because I believed in it. Washington, D.C., I got the Marines, gave me a challenge coin because I believed in my work there. SingPac Fleet because I worked for admirals and I believe myself, and I believe myself now. I have overcome many challenges, and so have you. The Book of Joy, I hope you read this. This is about transcending suffering. Don't be limited, just be open. Thank you.
Julia Holcomb, to be followed by Kelly Herring.
Hi, my name's Julia Holcomb. I'm the mother of a person who is married to a non-binary person of the Asian community. This isn't complicated. People are trying to make it complicated. We are here to advocate for children, all of them, including LGBTQ children, including children of color. We support the Equity Committee. We support Carl Rush, the new Chief Equity Officer. We support the 80-40 policy. And we support the school board in its efforts to support every single one of the children of Loudoun County. That's not partisan. That's not complicated. Thank you very much.
Kelly Herring, to be followed by Eric Herring.
First, I want to say go Braden and go HCA. I'm very excited to see that up there. Hi, I'm back here today, as a proud screaming parent of a young transgender son in our Loudoun County school. Today, instead of focusing on the hate that seems to be dripping off the followers of Jesus in this room, and from their kids in our schools, I wanted to take the time. Oh, wait. I can wait. I can wait.
The board is in recess for 5 minutes. I'm going to ask that Kelly Herring be given 40 seconds. That is when the disruption began. Kelly, before you start speaking, I have an announcement for the room, and they're going to reset the clock. The board is here tonight to hear from everyone. We started our meeting early because we knew we would have a large crowd, and we had a large agenda. We ask again that you respect each other, and everyone is allowed to speak and have their time. And I will also announce at this time that with unanimous consent of the board and based on legal advice, we will end public comment and move to our next agenda item if the room erupts again, as it just did. So please respect each other and let everyone have their turn at the mic. Thank you. I said 40. Can you not do 40 seconds? Okay. So your time is up at 40, or at 5 seconds. So we have Kelly Herring, can finish your comments, followed by Eric Herring.
Okay, so finished my comment about Jesus and the hate dripping off of you. I wanted to take my time to speak to all of the transgender students that go through our halls every day. I know this feels scary right now, and that's because this is scary and you feel unsafe. I want you to know that you're not alone, and we will continue to fight for you. The transgender community has been through decades of abuse, and I promise you that you will come out victorious. These are your schools too, and you deserve to be there. But even more than that, you are wanted there. You are smarter and stronger than any lawmaker or religious fanatic who is scared of difference. You are perfect, and you are brave, and you make our school community healthier, more vibrant, and stronger. Do not.
Eric Herring to be followed by Diane Stefano. I should apologize right at the beginning for mispronouncing any names. My apologies. Go ahead.
In the book of Genesis, we learn that God created day and night, two opposites. That God created land and sea, two opposites. God created birds and fish, one that flies, one that swims, two opposites. God created man and woman, again, two opposites. Each of these things created by God are two opposites, two different sides of the spectrum. Day and night are opposites, but what about dusk and dawn? Are they day or are they night? Genesis doesn't mention dusk and dawn, and we still accept it as something God created. What about a penguin? It's a bird, and it likes to swim in the water like a fish. How about dolphins? There are many different parts of the spectrum that count as God's creation. So why do we hold humans to these opposites and not see a trans person as God's beautiful creation? When we only see the opposites, we only see black and white. We miss all the beautiful colors in between. To everyone here, stop hiding your transphobia in your religion, because your religion does not support it. Life on earth is too short. Let people be who they are. Show more love and acceptance. Stop the hate. I promise you, God is not going to punish you for it.
Diane DiStefano to be followed by Aaron Gulick.
It's T. Stefano, if it matters. Good evening. I'm the mother of 2 LCPS graduates and the grandmother of 2 current LCPS students. I am proud to be the citizen of a country that has the courage and strength to admit its wrongs and to work towards correcting them. I am proud to be the citizen of a country that is working to be inclusive of all, including those in the LGBTQ community. In my 40 years of teaching, I have seen growth towards communication among people. We're not done yet. I thank this board for having the courage to continue the righteous pursuit of equity and justice so that all students can thrive. Thank you.
Aaron Gulick to be followed by Hazel Herring.
Thank you for hosting us here tonight. I'm a resident of the Catoctin District and mom of 2 LCPS elementary school students. No one in my household is LGBTQ identifying, but I would like to voice my strong support for the passage of Policy 8040. Transgender and gender-expansive students deserve to be recognized and supported, recognized as their full selves, and supported so they can get on with the business of learning, growing, and thriving throughout their lives. That is what I would ask for my own children, so it's what I'm asking for others' children as well. Thank you.
Hazel Herring to be followed by Aaron Dunbar.
My name is Hazel Herron, and I am a rising 8th grader at Harmony Middle School, and I am here today to speak in support of my friends and brother. They deserve to be safe in school just like I am, and making pronouns more and more normalized can also help with the acceptance of trans kids. Things like putting pronouns next to name tags or having teachers teach students about pronouns make all the difference in normalizing it. Let's keep moving forward instead of backwards so my friends and brother feel safe in school. Thank you.
Aaron Dunbar to be followed by Josh Stack.
I never thought I'd see the day when I'd have to stand up to protect my kids from their own school board. You put the feelings of a few above the safety and discomfort of the entire rest of the student body, and that is completely unacceptable. You may notice that some of our usual speakers aren't here tonight. That's because instead of wasting time listening to irrelevant statements from the many people who should not be here because they're not even our constituents, our peaceful army of moms and dads is blanketing Leesburg to finish the job of collecting required recall signatures from Mrs. Bartz. And we will do the same for each district rep on the recall. A few teachers were kind enough to donate some of the challenge coins that Mr. Sirotkin forged in his basement for your legal fees if you're interested. If anybody wants to sign the recall, please come see me.
This is your last and final warning. I'm asking you all, I understand you're in support of speakers. Please do so in a quiet way so that I can continue with the speaker list. It is long, and we want to be able to hear from all of you. Josh Stack to be followed by Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith to be followed by Megan Zimmern. Are you Aaron or Megan? Okay. All right. Megan Zimmern to be followed by Colin Wood.
Thank you. I have lived in Loudoun County for most of my life and attended elementary, middle, and high school here. I am also a Loudoun County parent. I can't say that growing up in Loudoun County that I had the benefit of inclusive policies. Many of my peers suffered silently and painfully. I want my children to be exposed to inclusive policies such as Policy 8040 that enrich the lives of all of our students. It ensures our students are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their sex, sexual orientation, transgender status, or gender identity or expression. I support the school board for their courageous advancement of Policy 8040, not because it's the right thing to do, because it's also the law. A recent study in 2020 showed that after screening over 40,000 LGBTQ youth, that affirming space within schools reduced suicide.
Colin Wood to be followed by Kirsten Shabanowitz. Sir, the microphone isn't on, and can you please reset the time?
Oh, can you reset the clock?
Sir, I've already asked them to. They'll take my direction. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a turning point in our history. For the first time ever, the very ideologies and people who built, cultivated, and protected this country with their blood, sweat, and tears are under attack, especially in our public school systems. The Western culture and values that brought forth Christianity in the founding documents are being called evil and racist. And the cure for this extreme allegation is to destroy those principles. Even more so, white children are being told untruthfully that all the problems in this country were their fault. The morality and values of our founders are slipping from our fingers. But we will not let this happen. If you believe in Christ, if you believe in the Constitution, and if you believe in America, do not let this country fall. Parents and students, you must step up and defend your values, because this nation, under God, will not perish from this earth, but it will certainly perish without him.
Kirsten Shabanowitz to be followed by Chris Hodges.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you to our school board members who currently support the work being done across the county, state, and nationwide in support of our LGBTQ+ students and staff. One of the greatest triumphs this year was access to free meals for all students. We know because studies have shown us that students learn better when their basic needs are taken care of. We know that when we feed a child, they feel safe, supported, and have a greater opportunity for a successful learning experience. But the idea of feeding students goes far beyond the nutrition we provide for their bodies. We have an opportunity, no, an obligation to feed the whole child, every child, to feed their creativity, to feed their physical growth needs, and we certainly have a need to feed their mental health. I hope the same school board representatives, educators, and parents who were outraged about mental health during the pandemic are now supporting the mental health needs of our LGBTQ+ students who need to feel seen, supported, and accepted during the 7+ hours they spend in the school building. I am asking you to continue supporting the work being done to create and expand Policy 8040. Thank you.
Chris Hodges, to be followed by Candy Murphy.
Thank you. At the equity workshop on June 1st, I watched the video, Mr. Sirotkin said, we need to find a way to have similar conversations, such as the workshop, but directly with the public, and I think that absolutely needs to happen. Mr. Moore said, I do get concerned that our message gets manipulated, and all that does is create incredible turmoil, and the message is getting lost. We have to be able to communicate it. Mr. Mahadevi, is that correct? Said, I agree with Mr. Sirotkin that as of now, we are inward-facing when we communicate. We need to take it from internal to external. And Dr. Ziegler said, equity has been widely misrepresented and misinterpreted. So my question is, what is the communications plan? The turmoil has been going on for months. So Dr. Ziegler, I assume that proactively communicating with the public is your responsibility, is it not? So what is that plan and when will it start?
Candy Murphy, to be followed by Candy Cushman.
Hi, my name is Candy Murphy. My pronouns are she and her. I am an 18-year resident of Loudoun. I'm a parent of 2 LCPS middle schoolers, and I am a Christian. Anyone using Christianity to attack Policy 8040 or LCPS equity work in general does not speak for me or my family, and does not speak for all Christians. The P in LCPS stands for public, not private, not parochial. LCPS policies cannot be based on the beliefs of one faction of one religion. Many LCPS parents of all beliefs want policies and a culture that supports all of our kids. So does the Commonwealth of Virginia, which has mandated the creation of these policies. I am proud of LCPS for its continuing work on behalf of all students. Policy 8040 will save lives. Thanks to the school board and Superintendent Ziegler, and happy Pride.
Candy Cushman, to be followed by Shelley Sleberch.
Good afternoon. My name is Candy Cushman. As a vice president with the Family Foundation of Virginia, I am speaking on behalf of hundreds of parents here in Loudoun County who look to our organization for help having a voice. We are asking you to put the protection of kids' minds, bodies, and hearts first and foremost ahead of political advocacy. We are asking you to protect the constitutional rights of the parents and students you were elected to represent by not rushing through adoption of the transgender and gender expansive policy. This policy, which is modeled after the top-down formula pushed on schools by the Richmond-based Department of Education, seriously jeopardizes students' rights to expect physical safety and bodily privacy in their bathrooms and locker rooms, as well as parents' rights to be involved in school policies and curriculum that has long-lasting impact on their kids. It is possible to find compassionate ways to protect every single child fairly without trampling on these core constitutional rights. Thank you.
Shelley Sleberch, to be followed by Elizabeth Boyko.
John Beatty once said, a rose by any other name is just as sweet. Critical race theory by any other name is just as toxic. Ziegler suggested we follow his concepts of patience, flexibility, comfort with the not yet known, and grace. Mr. Moore stated the easiest way for us to ensure equity is to just stop learning. Ms. Corbo consistently reiterated that staff is her biggest concern. Mr. Sirotkin said we're driving with the headlights off, and the kids are still in the car. Ms. King said, it's the children's responsibility to sacrifice for the greater good. Mr. Mahadavi said, I don't think we have been incompetent. Ms. Reeser said, Virginia law is very clear regarding recalls, and it's just as good fundraising tactic to pretend it can happen. Ms. Bartz, next time you put in writing that I am mocking you, you might not want to look up how to search guns, dismantling, cleaning on your LCPS phone. Ms. Sheridan, I yield the mic. Buzz me out, LCPS.
Elizabeth Boyko to be followed by Ian Pryor. Let's reset her time.
On June 11th, Beth Bartz wrote on social media regarding policy 8040 that, quote, the community is not being asked if they want these policies or approve of them, unquote. In an email to a constituent, John Beatty wrote that these will be voted on, which means they may not pass. He encouraged spreading the word about these policies so the board can hear from the community. Looks like this was just another attempt by Beth Bartz to silence the opposition through her usual bullying tactics. It appears the community does want to be heard and will not be silenced. Also, Beth Bartz, the night of her censure, did extensive internet searches on her LCPS-issued device about guns and rifles, how to shoot, upgrade, clean, and take apart. Also, right after she fired off an email to a confidential school board address blaming me and 6 other parents for her censure. My question is this: if a teacher in LCPS conducted these same internet searches on an LCPS device, would that be considered a violation of LCPS policy for employee technology acceptable and responsible use, and would it be flagged?
Ian Pryor to be followed by Rachel Pisani.
Ian's not here. He's collecting signatures for Beth.
You can just, I can see that he's not here. Thank you. Rachel Pisani to be followed by Lori Avila. All right. Lori Avila to be followed by Amy Yar.
I'm a Loudoun County resident and I have 5 children. We all agree any child suffering from gender dysphoria should be treated with love. Policies 8040 and 8350 violate constitutional rights and are not truthful to children. Parents, school personnel are required to rubber stamp your child's transgender identity at school without your knowledge or consent. This is a violation of the Constitution of Virginia, which ensures our right as parents to raise our children. Students and teachers, you cannot be forced to address another person by a pronoun or other sex-specific way that you do not believe is accurate. That is compelled speech, and it violates the First Amendment. For those of faith like Tanner Cross, if this compelled speech forces you to also speak and act against your sincerely held religious beliefs, this is yet another violation of your First Amendment rights. Students, we love you. We cannot lie to you. You have been born in the right body.
Amy Yar to be followed by Aria Sadeghi.
I will not speak to any of the policies this time because you guys really haven't listened to us all year, despite the fact that we are the very clear majority. It is an honor to be working on this recall. It is an honor to really be listening to all the citizens of Loudoun. It is an honor to know that their collective signatures will be heard in court. And it is my personal honor to offer you this challenge. Just resign. Save the taxpayers the money of all fighting for this. Don't rob the students and the teachers of that money. And as we go forward with the recall, Dr. Ziegler's words could not ring more true as we recall with patience, flexibility, comfort with the not yet known, and grace toward the common goal. That common goal is your recall, and I have absolutely no doubt we will succeed.
Aria Sadeghi to be followed by Michelle Tanis. Before you start, Ms. Sadeghi, I'm assuming there was you weren't able to sign up all in a row. Without objection to the next couple of speakers, I'm going to let the Sadeghis go right in a row due to young children. We're going to accommodate that, okay? So Aria's first.
Hi, my name is Aria. I love my teachers. I love Mrs. Brown and Miss Henriquez.
Namet Sadeghi, to be followed by Monica Sadeghi.
Hi, my name is Namet. I say thank you to all my teachers. Thank you, Miss Beasley, Miss Music, Mr. Pearson, and Miss McIntyre. I also say thank you to Miss Nemish, Mr. Bender, Miss Bland, Miss Smith, and Miss Payne, and Miss Schultz. Thank you.
Monica Sadeghi, to be followed by Mo Sadeghi.
Hi, my name is Monica Sadeghi, and I have 2 children in LCPS. I would like to start off by saying that I was blown away by the dedication and the love that my children's teachers poured into this year. The disappointment and anger over the events of last year has never been about the teachers. I attended my first Open Schools rally a year ago today, and I never could have imagined we would be where we are. Teachers and parents are both frustrated with the lack of communication and transparency this school board has shown. I honestly have faith in this community that had we come together to find compromises, we would not be where we are. After teachers were given coins instead of bonuses, their efforts this year for numerous businesses around the county have stepped up to show teachers just how much that they mean to us by offering different deals when the coin is presented. We need to come together and come up with compromises that both sides can live with. This starts with policies not being pushed through in a rushed manner, but actually listen to concerns from both sides. A town hall meeting is a must at this point. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Mo Sadeghi, to be followed by Michelle Tanis, and I do appreciate letting the Sadeghi family go all in a row.
Thank you, everybody. I again want to thank the teachers, school staff, bus drivers, and just everyday employees at the schools that helped get us through this year. Now with the hiatus coming up over the summer, it is time to engage more with the public. We don't want any unilateral decisions to be made or to not be able to engage with you in a discussion about what we all want, which is the best for our kids. This is going to be a decisive summer on the future of our children, but we don't want it to be divisive. We acknowledge compromise may be necessary, although difficult. We can all have a voice, but that is the most important thing, that we all communicate as community members and hear each other out. Thank you.
Michelle Tanis, to be followed by Tamara Nielsen.
It's red. It's red, yes. I'm Michelle Tanis, a mother of 2 daughters and 2 sons, and a sexual assault survivor. I am here to plead with you to stop the push for 8040 and 8350 as they fail to protect all students. Parents, school board, teachers, I present to you a possible scenario that could come to a Loudoun County school near you. 4 girls are on a band trip and sharing a room with only 2 beds. One of the girls has a penis. The girl without a penis, who has to share a bed with the girl with a penis, complains. The girl with a penis can claim a civil rights violation on the grounds of gender identity. The biological girl has violated the civil rights of the girl with a penis by not accepting her gender identity. The school cannot require the girl with a penis to have a separate room. But what if the biological girl who has complained is a sexual assault survivor? Are you going to tell her she has to accept this situation? What about her rights to feel safe? You are putting at risk the very people we should be working to protect.
Tamara Nielsen, to be followed by Fred Avila. Fred Avila, to be followed by Elizabeth Perrin.
Good afternoon. I'm here today to speak in support of Tanner Cross and his constitutional right to speak. I asked the school board to drop their appeal of Judge Plowman's ruling. You are now using taxpayer money to oppose an LCPS employee whom a judge has validated as having a First Amendment right to free speech without any retribution. By appealing to the Virginia Supreme Court, you are taking precious taxpayer resources out of the classroom. You are also each under official obligation to support the Constitution of the United States. A judge with jurisdiction over this county has ruled that you are instead violating the civil rights of a citizen in this county. I urge you to reverse course and abide by the Constitution that you are required to and have sworn to uphold.
Elizabeth Perrin, to be followed by Daniela Harris.
This year, we have yet to focus on the actual education of our children. Yet we've experienced the 8 of you, along with members of the Board of Supervisors, breaking laws and violating our First Amendment rights by engaging in multiple secret Facebook groups, creating a quorum to set county policy, to target parents, to remove any dissenting opinions from your own echo chambers, before declaring war on the parents, and dropping your narrative into the spin cycle to announce that we are an alt-right fringe group of conspiracy theorists and political operatives. Shame on you. The fact remains that this is all because of what you did and the fact that it did not match what you said. They were at odds, and parents decided to pay thousands of dollars on FOIA requests to find and share the truth in your own words. It is not political, it is parental, and I absolutely refuse to co-parent with LCPS.
Daniela Harris, to be followed by Jeremy Wright.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank God that we're all here and live in a free country where we can speak our minds, even if opposing opinions. My question is to each of you personally. Why is active grooming of our students allowed to take place under your watch? Why is indoctrination allowed to take place under your watch? Why is continued misinformation allowed to be distributed under your watch? Why is only a one-way narrative allowed to take place under your watch? Why are teachers expressing their personal opinions and convictions during a public comment session then fired under your watch? Why is religious freedom being ignored and trampled upon under your watch? Why is science and basic biology being ignored under your watch? Why is the freedom of speech being condemned in schools? We live in the United States of America. Our children are watching us, and it's safe to say that we are greatly failing them under your watch.
Jeremy Wright, to be followed by Mary Kopenchny.
In seeing some of the people that were bussed in today, I can't disagree with any of the slogans or images that I'm seeing. I do think Black Lives Matter. I think affirming inclusive environments are important in schools. Rainbows are beautiful and love is love. How can anyone disagree with that? But when it comes to the policies in this school, the words don't match the actions. To force policies that restrict our freedoms is beneficial to no one, even those who would benefit in the short term. None of the purported solutions help any of the people they say they're fighting for, making those arguments disingenuous, their slogans and images false, and those who follow these movements less fulfilled than when they joined the cause. It's all fake. The more time that passes, the clearer that will become to everyone. Race is very important to some, but it is only skin deep. These are superficial constructs that in the past have been used by political powers to divide this country. I would argue the same thing is being done with equity.
Thank you. Mary Kopenchny, to be followed by Isaac McCurdy. I'm sorry, we don't engage with the board with the public comment. We are trying to ensure everyone gets their turn to speak, so we're going to keep going. Is Mary Kopenchny here? All right, we'll move to Isaac McCurdy.
I'm Isaac McCurdy of Sterling and Cornell University, and over the past 10 years, I've studied China, both through my major at Cornell and through a year and a half of living in China. Please take this as proof that my criticism of the school board today is not an overreaction or political proposal, but a procedural warning based on carefully curated expertise. In 1958, Mao Zedong and the Chinese Communist Party began the Great Leap Forward, an agro-industrial initiative that killed 45 million people. In 1959, Chinese Defense Minister Peng Dehuai publicly criticized the Great Leap Forward, and not a month later, he was fired and later imprisoned. In May 2021, Tanner Cross stood before this school board and criticized a proposed policy that he believed to be dangerous to his students, and not 2 weeks later, he was placed on administrative leave. A minute is insufficient, but please believe me when I tell you that based on my years of studying China, if we here in Loudoun County begin punishing our teachers for expressing concern for proposed school policy, we really are only a few years and a charming leader away from an American cultural revolution in which a few control the approved ideology and procedure for the whole county. Thank you.
Megan Jenkins, to be followed by Lauren Bordeaux.
First, I want to say I am happy about the recent decision in the Tanner Cross case. Mr. Ziegler, you owe him an apology and you need to reinstate him. Quit wasting our tax dollars on appeals. I agree with Mr. Cross that proposed policies 8040 and 8350 are terrible. Trans people keep saying they need protection, but they already have protection under LCPS anti-bullying policy. If policies 8040 and 8350 get passed, 99.5% of students will not be protected. I have 3 children in LCPS. My oldest child will be starting middle school in the fall. Where is her protection if a biological male is staring at her as she changes her clothes in the locker room? Where is her protection if she runs track and loses every time to a biological male? Where is the protection for teachers forced to call students a pronoun that does not match their biology? According to science, there are 2 genders, male and female. Biology is not a means to an end, it's an end in itself. Vote no to policies 8040 and 8350. They are dangerous and lack common sense. Follow the science.
Lauren Bordeaux, to be followed by Brian Davison.
I am a Loudoun County resident, a homeschool mom of 3, and a follower of Jesus. The LCPS school board has managed to turn our once prestigious public schools into mediocre, publicly funded, politically motivated private schools. They have said, "Shut up or get out," to those who object to their equity and inclusion efforts. School board, you dismissed a beloved teacher for using his right to free speech in a public forum to express his religious objection to policy 8040. And now you're using our taxpayer dollars to appeal the judge's sound decision to reinstate him. You should be ashamed. Your actions have been despicable. It is clear you don't listen to our objections, but the world is listening. Make a stand as a prominent county in Virginia. Stop equity training. Vote no on policy 8040. Bring back the quality education that this county was once formerly known for. To students, staff, and parents, make your voices and views heard. Thank you.
Brian Davison, to be followed by Natasha Grover.
You may want to read Fulton versus City of Philadelphia in Title VII to avoid some further legal losses. Tonight I wanted to talk about more failures of LCPS. Why won't you report the MAP student growth scores at tonight's meeting instead of tomorrow? We know the real reason. It's because they are horrific as a result of the countless mistakes you have made this year. Black and Hispanic students don't even make national average growth because of you. And let's talk about your CRT policies. This coming year, over 30% of 7th grade students will take Algebra 1. But starting next year, only a handful will, because you've implemented a full year of prerequisites of pre-algebra. You've already eliminated advanced math courses based on the VMPI, even though VDOE said you didn't have to. And when you say that LCPS equity policies are not based on CRT, I just have one question. If average outcomes of different racial groups are not equal, such as in academic or discipline violations, does LCPS conclude this is the result of racial discrimination? If so, you are implementing the Marxist CRT ideology. Will you answer the question?
Natasha Grover, to be followed by Jolene Grover.
Thank you. Mr. Mahadavi, sorry if I said that wrong. Do your constituents know that you threw their daughter's privacy rights out the window when Brenda Sheridan demanded it? Do they know that you sacrificed their daughter's modesty to save your political aspirations in the Democratic Party? Do they know that it was your vote that moved the crazy gender policies out of the Pupil Services Committee in the first place? I wouldn't have to be standing here today if not for your committee vote last week. Even if you do the right thing for girls today and vote against the inevitable move to suspend the rules that I know you're going to do, and even if you vote against the policies themselves, it was your cowardice and lack of principles that made this happen today.
Jolene Grover, to be followed by Dana Lockhoff.
If I get knocked unconscious, I don't just stop being a girl because you don't know what my preferred pronouns are. Being a girl is not all in my head. Boys who identify as girls are no different from boys who identify as boys, except in their feelings about themselves. But feelings are not why we have separate bathrooms. We have separate bathrooms because of what our bodies do in them. Bodies matter. Calling girls bigots because they don't want to use toilet in a stall next to a boy or get undressed next to a boy is cruel and wrong. It is embarrassing enough for a girl to change a pad knowing all the other girls can hear the crinkle of the packaging. But telling her that she must be okay doing it in the presence of boys because their preferred pronouns are she, her, how evil can you be? Girls' bathrooms do not exist to validate identities.
Dana Lockhoff, to be followed by Kim Kim.
Good evening. My name is Dana, and I'm a Loudoun County citizen, and I have 3 children in LCPS. I'm asking you to actually shift focus and do your job. I'm asking you, imploring you, to focus on the students most disrupted by this pandemic, our special education students. My daughter is 4 years old and enrolled in ECSE. At the beginning of the pandemic, she was 3, and she was offered a Chromebook. While my daughter was 3, like the peers in her class, she was more developmentally like an 18-month to 2-year-old. A bunch of handouts that didn't match her skill level, and a Chromebook is the support we received from LCPS last year. LCPS did not protect our most vulnerable students. Please reshift your focus and support the students who have fallen behind and the over 9,000 students in special education that you kicked to the curb.
Kim Kim, to be followed by Jessica Mendez.
Good afternoon, members of the school board. We may live in the information age, but for all our advances, many still struggle to discern fact from fiction. Even when the preponderance of scientific and medical research align to provide us clear direction, some remain steadfast in clinging to suspicions, fears, misguided biases, and outdated information. The expert consensus clearly stands in favor of policies that fully support and affirm transgender children. To those of you who listen to those experts and accept truth, I thank you. Thank you for choosing a path that protects our most vulnerable students. History is rife with examples of suffering inflicted onto the innocent due to ignorant and outdated thinking. I thank you for helping us begin to end another one of those shameful periods in history. Thank you for choosing compassion.
Jessica Mendez, to be followed by Jamie Fortier.
The people here today have been activated by your actions or your failure to act. I was called to action when I learned that best friends of mine were put on an enemies list created in an attempt to silence and intimidate parents by members of a private Facebook group that 6 of you are members of. That's when a group of us formed Fight for Schools in order to recall those of you who violated your responsibilities and destroyed the trust of the community you serve. Every parent, every teacher, every American has a right to speak freely without fear of being targeted. It's not just a right, it's a duty to our children, and it's a duty to those who can't. And now we know that there is a second Facebook group in which 7 of you are current members. This is yet another example of flouting State Freedom of Information Act law, open meeting law, the Virginia and United States Constitutions, and your own bylaws. Looks like we need to print some more petitions.
Jamie Fortier, followed by Teresa Troth. Teresa Troth, to be followed by Kara Dool. Are you Teresa? Okay.
I have taught precious teenagers who identify as transgender. I chose to address them respectfully by using their preferred first name, not their pronoun. It is possible to teach and be kind without affirming. No child should be taught to demand another's affirmation. Rather, they should be taught that their worth is inherent. No child should be forced to affirm what may be contrary to their moral convictions or understanding of biological reality. No teacher should be compelled to speech that affirms something against their conscience or comply with actions that they believe may harm a child. No person should be forced to utter prayer, say the pledge, or communicate approval of anything against their conscience. LCPS should uphold an umbrella of freedom and grace, freedom to think critically, and grace that acknowledges our differing worldviews without demanding approval from others. All students and staff deserve equal protection to live out their convictions as they see fit, without demanding the affirmation and celebration of others.
Kara Dool to be followed by Monique Dupuis. Monique Dupuis to be followed by Daniel Brubaker. Daniel Brubaker to be followed by Scott Pio.
Walk the plank, says Pirate Jim, but Captain Jim, I cannot swim. Then you must steer us through the gale, but Captain Jim, I cannot sail. Then down with the galley slaves you go, but Captain Jim, I cannot row. Then you must be the pirate's clerk, but Captain Jim, I cannot work. Then a pirate captain you must be. Thank you, Jim, says Captain Me. I've noticed a pattern. You treat your bosses, most of us, like children. You treat the woke mob, your employees and teachers unions, like the boss. And you treat children who have not harmed you like pawns in your leftist social experiment. Children are not identity groups. They are individuals, each one unique. But the woke ideology you all have embraced denies this. The United States is a nation unlike any other where limited government accountable to the people preserves opportunity for everyone. But the false premises of wokeness that you propose to teach kids are self-destructive, hate for others, tearing down their own future. Brenda, when you give us a timeout for clapping, we hear you saying, "Look at me, I am the captain now." You're not the captain, we're your bosses, and God willing, we'll return most of you to the private sector very soon. We don't hate you, but we do love our children, we love all of our neighbors, and we love this country. Thank you.
Scott Pio to be followed by Angela Cross.
My name is Scott Pio, Corbo, Sheridan, Reeser, King, Bartz. These questions are for you. If I declare I'm a woman today, can I follow you into the women's bathroom? This is a school building after all. Can you be followed into a locker room before gym and be watched as you change into gym clothes? Since it's allowed in middle school, some of you have not hit puberty yet. Can the girls watch me dress and undress in my gym clothes if I declare I'm a girl? Because now I call myself a girl, can I travel in the girls' soccer team, sleep in the girls' hotel rooms with my PJs, watching the girls shower and change clothes? Because I've declared myself a woman, you have now ostracized all these girls. It's a terrible thing. But you should not be allowed to as a boy because you have a penis. If you vote for 80-40, this is exactly what you'll be voting for. And this won't happen when I unseat David Reed in the House of Delegates this year. Thank you.
Angela Cross to be followed by Darius Hess. Angela Cross. Next speaker is Darius Hess. Is that you, sir?
I'm Darius.
Okay. No, and that's not the next speaker. Go ahead, Mr. Hess.
Thank you. At the board meeting 2 weeks ago, Mr. Sorotkin listed some priorities he believes need focus if we wish to have a best-in-class education system here in Loudoun. It's a good list. That list is where you should have and could have been focused all along. Instead, history will not judge this board well. CRT, like its counterpart, the 1619 Project, is nothing but phony scholarship. It isn't meant to achieve anything. It's meant to divide and destroy this country by people who hate it. That's why so many state legislatures around the country are making it illegal in their schools. Your treatment of Tanner Cross is a loser in the courts. Freedom of conscience always prevails. See the Philadelphia Catholic Church decision last week, 9-0, and the Georgia Gwinnett College decision last spring, 8-1. The 6 members targeted for recall should resign immediately. It's the best thing for everyone. We will not stop. We are Fight for Schools.
S. Chris Anders to be followed by Michelle Lane. Michelle Lane to be followed by Wally Bunyea. Can you identify yourself, sir, before we start?
Chris Anders, Loudoun County.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
As I watch parent after parent step up and oppose or sadly support the radical racist and immoral propaganda that passes as an education in Loudoun County, I'm reminded of the tyranny of communist China, where your money is legally stolen and then used in government schools, not public schools. These are not public schools. These are government schools, like here, to indoctrinate children against their parents. It is not a matter who sits on the school board. The problem is the power that the school board has, which is why we must all work endlessly to pass school choice and empower the parents and rip away the power of the Loudoun County School Board. Theft of our tax dollars, corruption, radicalization, immorality, and tyranny in our schools are simply because liberty and the right to choose has been shackled and government has replaced it. Government is a natural enemy of freedom and promotes media.
Ma'am, are you Michelle Lane? Okay, so Michelle Lane to be followed by Wally Banyea.
Hello, my name is actually Michelle Lane Smithwick. I think it's hyphenated. Hello, everyone. I am a parent of 2 Loudoun County High School graduates. I'm a registered nurse and live in and own a decades-old small business in Loudoun County, and I pay a huge amount of taxes, which funds all this. In my early 20s, I lived in West Germany, and during that time we visited many concentration camps. One question visitors always had: how is it that German people allowed their fellow citizens to be treated and slaughtered like livestock? The answer was Hitler's propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, brainwashing the country's citizens to hate other racial groups. This social engineering brought about Hitler's authoritarianism. Critical race theory, in fact, pits black people against white people and has an end game goal of restructuring America to an authoritarian regime. In China, before the rise of communism.
Thank you, ma'am. Wally Banyea to be followed by Borsika Zivos.
Yeah, 3 white men, males, Republicans all in my family, fought 160 years ago against racist Democrats and the free slaves. They did at a great personal expense. One of them was wounded in battle. One was put in Andersonville prison where there was starvation and cannibalism and lots of diseases. He spent another year after the war in Walter Reed Hospital recovering from his injuries and illnesses. I'm not here to ask for reparations. Why not? Who owes who? I'm not here because that happened 160 years ago. I'm not responsible for it. Nobody in this room was born 160 years ago. They're not responsible for it. It's against, well, I guess what I want to say is it's also grouping people by races, which is wrong. The American ideal is individual liberty. All men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable.
Thank you, sir. Please yield the mic to our next speaker, Borsika Zivos, to be followed by Michael Rivera.
Hi, I'm just a messenger, and this is a message from my father to you all. You don't know me, but I know your hearts and desires. This region is not yours anymore. For sometimes you choose to do things against my law and order. On behalf of my children trying to protect their offspring, I am taking away all authority from you to rule the school system. You can resign in the next 7 days and go away quietly and in peace, or you will be removed shamefully. Organizations paying for your evil work will be exposed. Countries paying for the propaganda behind the scenes will be exposed. You are held accountable for your deeds, and justice will rule again. Your seats will be given to my children. I protect the youth from your lies by a ring of fire. I am taking the schools back. I am transforming this region, the people, the hearts. Instead of hatred, children will know me. They will walk in love, forgiveness, and peace. There will be unity, freedom, and joy. Walls of Jericho come down now. I declare all these things in the name of Jesus Christ, my Son, your everlasting Father in heaven. Amen.
Michael Rivera to be followed by Dick Black.
Barack Obama, Loretta Lynch, Condoleezza Rice, Ben Carson, Justice Clarence Thomas,
Thomas, LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey, Candace Owens, Sheila Jackson Lee. All of them have in common wealth, success, power, despite having been raised in a miserable and systematically racist country like the United States, according to CRT. Ironically, many of the self-proclaimed CRT advocates on the list are not willing to distribute their wealth and power to less fortunate people of color. The summertime is the school board's favorite time of the year because parents and citizens go on vacation and are left unsupervised. They are left unsupervised, unmonitored, and unchecked to do as they wish. Look at where that landed us today. Do not forget where we are today and how much worse it will be if the board is left unsupervised over the summertime. Do not go on vacation and forget about this. Sign the recall petition, keep an eye on all local and state elections, and vet all candidates that do not work for us.
Dick Black, to be followed by Joe Mobley.
I'm retired Senator Dick Black of Ashburn, Virginia. You retaliated against Tanner Cross by yanking him from teaching for addressing a public hearing of this board. The judge ordered you to reinstate Mr. Cross because if his comments were not protected speech, then free speech does not exist at all. It's absurd and immoral for teachers to call boys girls and girls boys. You're making teachers lie to students, and even kids know that it's wrong. This board has a dark history of suppressing free speech. They caught you red-handed with an enemies list to punish opponents of critical race theory. You're teaching children to hate others because of their skin color, and you're forcing them to lie about other kids' gender. I am disgusted by your bigotry and your depravity.
Joe Mobley, to be followed by Donna Russell.
Madam Chair, I move to end public comment.
There's been a motion to end public comment. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion made by Ms. Reeser and seconded by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Corbo, can I record your vote, please?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 9-0. Public comment is now ended. We will move to our next agenda item.
sexual harassment. Showing this type of material to a minor with their consent is harassment. I've heard of countless stories of sexually explicit material being read in Loudoun County Public Schools in the past couple months. Kids just like me who were exposed to sexual material by a teacher who they once trusted. I felt violated. My grades began to slip and my mental health declined. Eventually, I no longer felt safe in the halls of my own school, so I had to switch back to the school today. Please hear me when I say we need change. We need to protect students by creating sexual material in school settings, because I don't want another kid to go through the trauma I went through this year. And I'm honestly just disgusted that they're not here to hear me say this, because I didn't bring it here and I
Here's another one. How about this?
My name is Megan Clay. My husband and I are both alumnus of LCPS. We decided to move back to Western Loudoun 6 years ago to raise our 4 daughters. We've always been big supporters of public school and see it as a great uniter within our community. Today I would like to voice my deep concern over the county's policies and positions which continue to remove parental consent as to what our children are being taught. I know right now our country, our county, and our country for that matter, is divided on very sensitive and polarizing topics. It is in everyone's best interest that the parent remains the guardian of information and how and why and when it is introduced to our children. My freshman daughter was cast in a play where group sex was casually discussed. It was beyond traumatic to her. She lost trust in the teacher, she lost trust in school to keep her safe. The previous school year, a teacher could not show a PG-rated movie in the middle school classroom without permission. Fast forward a few months, and my daughter is handled this material without any consent given by me or my father. I implore the school board and the county to reconsider the parental rights within our county.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I'm a fourth grader at Loudoun Elementary. I think that having a girl with a girl and a boy with a boy is wrong. God says man and woman are united in one, not man and man or woman and woman. I also think that transgender is wrong too. You are how you are. You cannot change that.
It's under control. Let's continue on. Let's not be distracted.
Let's press on. This is how the left tries to distract from truth. And we're going to put some more truth here today, beginning with Miss Hayden. Keep it up.
Let's go get your people out of here. What am I being no-con for?
Hey, sir, you do not need to do that. But I have authority to walk you out of here. Sir, you do not need to do that. You
Ladies and gentlemen, as the administrator of Loudoun County Public Schools, I declare this is an unlawful assembly.
This is not an unlawful assembly. People are being peaceful and very helpful and they're going towards this. We will not disassemble. This is not, you have the authority to tell them anyways. I'm not a law enforcement person to do so. Press on.
Our Judeo-Christian beliefs do not take away people with different opinions their freedom to believe or think differently. In fact, it helps protect your freedom, but that freedom cannot be used to then silence us who believe and stand on the truth of the Bible. Noah Webster is called the schoolmaster to America for his extensive contributions to American education and his American Dictionary of the English language. Quote, any system of education which limits instruction to the arts and sciences and rejects the aids of religion in forming the characters of citizens is essentially defective. In my view, the Christian religion is the most important and one of the first things in which all children under a free government ought to be instructed. No truth is more evident to my mind that the Christian religion must be the basis of any government intended to secure the rights and privileges of a free people. End quote. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of the Lord stands forever. God's word says, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Let's teach our children the good way in which they should walk. I have 6 children in LCPS, elementary, middle, and high schools, elementary to middle to high school. The year we can establish policies to protect transgender students by this fall, and the school board was not satisfied with requirements. The school board was not satisfied with Why can't we meet together, all the stakeholders, those of us who actually live in Loudoun County and care about our students, come together for protection and fairness for all of our students.
speech. Nobody here is doing anything other than leftists trying to disrupt us. And therefore, we came here and we petitioned and we got permission and got in line to speak. The people in charge left, not us, and we're not leaving until we've been heard.
I just want to say one thing. I'm here for mom. I'm a mom. I'm here for your mom. Especially your child. Who values education.